Hey, welcome to this Windows channel, and this is another little tips and tricks video on removing malware, spyware, and undesirable software. Now, when using a software to try and find and remove it doesn't work, when you try to uninstall it from the panel and it didn't work, or it's just not written anywhere. What are your other options? Now, it is this time that it gets more complicated, and often a lot of people already have called a tech guy before, but some of them are more knowledgeable and have done what I've actually told you to do, but they're still stuck with some malware. So there's all sorts of things that can happen with these malware. So one of the tricks that they use to prevent you from finding it and knowing where it is actually using parts of the operating systems, and especially the file system on your hard drive where all the files are hidden. So basically, by hiding the files somewhere where you don't have access, technically, often they get around by still having it work. So what you can do is, first of all, the first place you should check for is in your user's temporary files and the hidden files and folders, and I'm going to show you where that is. A lot, and that's very popular, a lot of the malware and a lot of the viruses hide in your user accounts, but in a very unique place. So what you could do is use your File Explorer, but now there's a little something that you need to do. In your File Explorer, click the View tab and make sure that you have hidden items checked marked. In Windows 7, you can also go into the control panel, and when you go into the control panel, you'll have the information for files and everything, files and folders, and in there you'll have an option to actually make the files and folders visible. Everything that's kind of hidden will become visible suddenly. Then you'll want to go to your local C drive. In this C drive, you'll want to go into your user account. In the user account, you'll go, of course, click your user account, your username. You'll go into app data. And then you'll go into local. And here in local, you'll have something called temp. Go in here, click one file, and then do Control A or Ctrl A, or just choose everything. And what you'll want to do is right click and delete everything in here. Some things won't be able to delete because they are in use, but the majority of what's there should be removed. A lot of the bad stuff lurks in here. Another thing that you should check for is when you are in the app data local, look for a folder that has the name of that unwanted software. That will, of course, let you know that it's here probably in a folder. And for example, here I have lots of software that I've removed that still have their folders in here. So you can clean it up at the same time a little bit if you want. So basically, that's one of the places you need to go. And there's a lot of hidden places where viruses can be, of course, lurking. So make sure that you go into the local and you go into the temp area. Remove everything in there. And don't worry, the temp area, nothing you remove there will break anything on your computer. So that's something you should check. Also, another place you might want to check is in the roaming. In roaming, you might have the name of some unwanted software once again somewhere here. So what you could do is remove it, but if it doesn't allow you to remove it, another trick that I have is just rename it. A lot of stuff don't want to be removed because they are working and the file system is going to answer, I can't remove that. But a little trick that I have is that you can just right click and click rename and give it a name, a different name, and restart your computer. Now what's going to happen is because you renamed, the virus cannot start because the links to that folder are not working anymore. And then you'll be able to, of course, uninstall it. So these are things that you should check for. Check also in your files and folders, in the C drive, of course, check program files and program files x86. Check and search for anything that has the name of some of the bad stuff that you might have and you cannot install. Once again, you'll have to do the trick that I told you. Right click on the bad stuff and click rename, because if you don't rename, what's going to happen is it's going to tell you once again, oh no, I can't erase this because it's in use. Once again, you restart your computer after you rename. And after you restart, because it's not in use anymore, you'll be able to delete it. So these are little tips and tricks once again of where the file is and where to find it. Another little trick here is you can right click on your taskbar and go into the task manager. And here, when you have your tasks, what are the processes and everything, you can right click on that, any process, and you could say go details, and you have more information. And here you can actually say, oh, okay, that's one of the virus here. Well, this is CCleaner actually, but you right click on it and you say open file location. It's going to show you where it's located. And then you can look here at the top and see where it is located in your file explorer. Once again, you can use a trick to just rename the folder, restart your computer, and you know what? That is another way where you can actually remove viruses, but it's much more manual. It requires you to understand a little more where it could be lurking. If you have shortcuts on your desktop to a certain malware, right click on it and look where it's from. You can right click any shortcuts on your desktop and say properties. In the properties, you'll have the target area, which shows you exactly where it is in your computer. So these are all the tips and tricks that you can use to try to remove it. But now it's much more serious. You're getting into manual removal. So you'll have to be a little more careful also what you do, and make sure that you remove the right thing or rename the right thing. Restart your computer, and you know what? If you've removed some that you actually noticed, renamed the folders and stuff like that, when you restart, you should see a difference. You should see, oh, look at that. This malware has disappeared. I've been able to actually neutralize it, and just find it and try to delete the folders. One thing that it might provoke, and that's very important to know when you are starting to do manual things like this, sometimes when you reboot your computer, there could be error messages popping up. Why? Because it could be that in the registry there's a link to that file or that folder, and now it's going to say, hey, I can't find this, or this can't open. Don't worry, it's not something that's bad or that's going to break your computer, but it's just that it just doesn't find it anymore. So there are other things that you can do, including go into the registry and find its entry. That will be in another video, of course. So manual searching of malware is another thing that's very important in malware removal. So you can find the links sometimes. Try to be wise. Try to find where they could be, where they are in your computer. And you'll be surprised at where they could hide sometimes. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, let us know. You like our videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up, well, of course, and hopefully you'll enjoy our series on removing malware and viruses.